Ohio State continues to build championship depth through the transfer portal.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Monday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, Vector Sports Talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox, no console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more. During today's show, we'll discuss the huge accomplishment for Ohio State after losing two coordinators, as well as if the Buckeyes should add more transfers. But first, Ryan Day has been pushing all the right buttons this offseason, from the hires he has made to some things he has done in the portal. Even during spring practice, turning up the intensity, Ryan Day is pushing all the right buttons. And all of it is geared towards running it back in 2025. While trying to run it back in 2025, you have to make sure you not only have the top-end talent, you got to make sure you have the depth at key positions to make sure you have a roster that is going to compete to win the national championship. And Ryan Day, once again, while pushing the right buttons, he finds another gem in the portal. This time it's Justin Terry, the former offensive lineman at West Virginia, 6'5", 338 pounds. This young man is not expected to play right now, but he's expected to provide the necessary depth for Ohio State to have a shot to run it back. And that's what you want right now. You want Ohio State to be making moves to have a shot to run it back. It'd be very, very easy for Ryan Day to fall into the trap that a lot of coaches fall into, where you get that monkey off your back, you get that ring on your finger, and all of a sudden you're starting to think, man, I have made it. I've worked my entire life for this moment, and you can't tell me nothing. It would be very, very easy for Ryan Day's head to get so big it didn't fit on the screen right now for those of you watching on the YouTube at this point in time. But Ryan Day's not like that. Well, I'm not going to say his head didn't get bigger and he didn't have his ego inflated. I'm not going to sit up here and say that at all. But I will say that Ryan Day realizes last year's team did a lot of great things. But that was a team that saw a lot of those guys go off to the NFL. This year's team has some of those same guys on it, but this year's team hasn't played a lot of significant football. They played some football, but a lot of them have not played significant football, which means you got to do some things a little bit different while pushing the right buttons to try to make sure you focus on the quality of a player versus the quantity of players you bring in from the portal. I think Ryan Day is pushing the right buttons and making sure the depth that he's providing is going to be the depth that's going to be needed, not just for Ohio State to be good this year, but over the next 2, 3, and 4 years and beyond. And that's what you're getting in Justin Terry, because this young man is not only 6'5", 338 pounds, expected to be an offensive tackle. Maybe he'll shed some LBs to be a guard, but primarily he'll be an offensive tackle. But he has 4 years left to play the college football. So you're not bringing a guy, like a Logan George or a Max Player that's played quite a bit at the previous school. Now, both those guys are really good as well. But for Terry to come in, he's also a Pickerington, Ohio kid, so he's right there in the heart of Ohio. So you're getting a kid that's wanted to play at Ohio State. He's leaving West Virginia. He was only there for a cup of coffee, and he's coming to Columbus, Ohio to get developed, to play for the school he's wanted to play for his entire life, but also to add the depth that the team needs. And if you look up and down the portal acquisitions that Ohio State has made so far this year, there have been 8. One is it's not really talked about much, and Ty Howard, a linebacker. But outside of that, you have a defensive end in Logan George. I'm going to put Max Clare in this conversation because he's a tight end. Technically, he's in the trenches. But you also brought in Ethan Anamwa, a tackle. Phillip Daniels, a tackle. Bo Atkinson, a defensive end. Justin Terry, an offensive tackle. The only non-trenches players that Ryan Day has brought in, that would be Ty Howard, a linebacker, and C.J. Donaldson, a running back. One guy is brought in to add depth to the linebacker room. Another one is brought in to potentially start. And Ryan Day's focus, once again, is in the right area. I mean, think about what Ohio State lost last year on the offensive line. Seth McLaughlin, gone. Oh, my goodness. Josh Simmons. I don't know why his name escaped me. He was a first-round pick. Josh Simmons, gone. His backup, even gone. Donovan Jackson, gone. Josh Fryer, gone. So if you look at this, that starting offensive line, they're one of the backups. You've lost 5 offensive linemen. So wouldn't it make sense for you losing 5 offensive linemen and 3 of those were tackles, full-time tackles. A fourth was back and forth, Donovan Jackson going from guard to tackle. When you're losing 3 tackles, it makes a lot of sense for Ohio State to go out there and get a Nanwa and get Daniels and get Terry to replace those guys. But even when you bring those guys in, yes, they might be able to shed some LBs to go down the guard. I think Ryan Day has it right. I'm not going to say Ryan Day's a perfect coach, nor will I say that he gets everything about coaching at Ohio State. I'm not going that far. But I will make a comment about Ryan Day in regards to the things that Ryan Day has learned heading into his 7th season at Ohio State. These are lessons that some guys never learn in a 40-plus career coaching in college football. And the fact that he's been able to tap into his mentors and even sometimes humble himself to realize, man, I ain't got all the answers. I think I got some answers. And what we have done throughout my tenure here has shown that we have answered some questions. But realizing you don't have all the answers, hey, Urban, hey, Tressel, hey, Coop, I need some help. Calling the former coaches at Ohio State to get some help from Chip Kelly. Ryan Day is not a coach that has an ego so big that he's going to scoff at the thought of picking up the phone, making a phone call. If you need help, ask somebody. It's very similar to those of us that go to the store. And I told you my wife and I have bought a house. We have made way more trips to Lowe's than I thought we were going to, but Lowe's has the things we need. If we're going to Lowe's here, we're going to Lowe's there. Literally made 2 trips to Lowe's today before recording this show. I mean, Lowe's has been a place that we have been to quite a bit. Menards is one of them, a discount store to try to get some fans that were a little bit cheaper. I mean, we've been to a lot of places. But how would it be? We're first-time homeowners, and we don't tap into any of the resources we have. Parents, in-laws, siblings. What if we didn't tap into any of our resources and we said, yep, I hear you, but I'm not going to apply what you're telling me to, or you're suggesting that I do? What could that lead to? Disaster. An absolute disaster. Now, you may fall on your face here or fall on your face there because you are too stubborn to listen to the people that are around you. But once you realize, man, these people have been here for a while. My brother's owning a home, we have to buy. He's in the process of actually building a home. My parents have owned numerous homes. My father-in-law has owned homes. Like, we have people, and I'm sure you do too. Whenever if you own a home now, you're at one point you were a first-time home owner, and you were going through the process of moving to the home and trying to get the home the way you want it. You may have been overwhelmed. It would be easy to be overwhelmed. Tap into them resources, man. Ryan Day has resources. My wife and I have some resources. We got to tap into them resources to help us do something we've never done before. And now Ryan Day is tackling some things right now in college football that Urban never had to handle, Tressel never had to handle, John Cooper. None of these coaches had to deal with some of the things Ryan Day is currently dealing with. Even though they didn't have to deal with it, they can still help provide some necessary advice to Ryan Day as he's figuring out the right way to navigate the changes in college football, with the portal being one of them, and how to go about adding quality guys in the portal that add depth to key positions even after spring ball. Ryan Day's been hitting all the right buttons and adding some key guys in the portal, but does Ryan Day's activity mean he's done picking up quality players in the portal? I'll answer that question next. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props. From three-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, You could even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Once again, don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Thank y'all for tapping the Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. Ryan Day is in a spot right now. We look up and down the depth chart, the too deep there. You may think Ryan Day is done adding guys in the portal. It'll be very, very easy to look at that and say, yeah, that's the summary of Ryan Day's portal activity in 2025. He has done enough. He's added the necessary depth that Ryan Day could say, yep, my work here is done. I know Lee Corso's going away. He's not going to be in college football on game day much longer. But I'm going to steal a phrase from him. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast at all. Because I don't think Ryan Day's done. One thing you know about football is that injuries are going to happen. And unfortunately, you're probably going to have an offensive or defensive lineman injured. Now, they might not be knocked out for the entire season, but you can think up over the past few years, Ohio State has had to deal with injuries on both sides, both offensive lines. Last year was very evident and clear. McLaughlin, Simmons, Mahalski, all three of them went down, and they were out for the season. On the defensive line, Tuamaloa's been banged up, hasn't really missed significant time. He's been banged up. Jack Sawyer's been banged up, also not missed significant time, but he's been banged up. Tyleik Williams has missed time. If you look up and down Ohio State over the past few years, guys have been dinged up. Back in 2018, Nick Bosa had an abdominal injury in game number 2 against TCU. Didn't come back for the rest of the season. Now, maybe he could have, but he didn't come back. He decided to go and save himself for his future. Now, I mean, you can't say his decision was wrong. Look what he's been doing in the National Football League. And I think Ryan Day, once again, is going to look out there and see guys that are in the portal and bring guys in on visits and continue the trend to, add the necessary depth. Yes, Justin Terry is one guy that recently committed to Ohio State out of the portal. A couple other guys that Ohio State brought in on visits on Friday. Jaden Ball, these are both offensive linemen. Jaden Ball and then Orion Irving. Jaden Ball was a former Purdue Boilermaker. He has since signed with Minnesota, literally the day after he visited Ohio State. And then Orion Irving is a 6'6", 310-pound offensive lineman, redshirt junior from Sam Houston State. He also was there at Ohio State visiting on Friday. Orion Irving, and I hope I'm saying his first name correctly, has 2 years left to play football. And what is one thing we have said here all of the time, and the everydayers know the importance of going out there and getting guys in the portal that can give you multiple years. Now, there are some exceptions to the rule. Will Howard only had 1 year. He was a 1-year rental, and it worked out the best it could work out. So, yes, there are times that you go out there and you're trying to get guys that can give you 2 or maybe 3 or even Justin Terry's role 4 years. I think Ryan Day and the other coaches realize if you bring a guy in at one point in time, like maybe an Ethan Ananwa who only has 1 year left to play football, he's an immediate impact guy, automatically from day one. But outside of that, you're gearing towards trying to get guys that can give you multiple years. Because if I'm a coach, it's been a long time since I was on the sidelines coaching. Not as the head coach, but as an assistant. But if I were a coach, I would want guys on my team that I would have for multiple years. Not a guy that I would just have at 1 year and hope to get the best out of him and squeeze all the juice out of the orange before he's out of the program. I hope I would be able to get multiple years out of guys on the team. It's what, like in college, and if you go back to high school, it's similar, but not as different. Like there are differences in high school than in college, but you get potentially 4 years, maybe 5 with the guy in college football to where you're going to be able to work with them. But in high school, unless you're at a smaller school, you're going to have a freshman team, a JV team, and a varsity team. And there are guys that are freshmen. Yeah, they might be able to play JV in a backup role, but they're going to get more playing time and develop better playing as a freshman. So you're going to keep them on the freshman team. All of a sudden, junior year, Yeah, they were starting on JV. Then a varsity coach gets 2 years with them. In college, Ryan Day's getting 4, maybe 5 years with the guy. Maybe. So it makes a lot of sense to try to get as much as you can out of a player to make sure he's the best he can be to make the team in that year and the next year the best it can be. And the same thing goes here. Anytime Ryan Day's going out there and trying to get somebody in the portal, 9 times out of 10, the guy has multiple years left to play football. 9 times out of 10. Well, Howard's an exception to the rule, but he's also different. He won a Big 12 championship over there at Kansas State. Came into Ohio State, didn't win the Big 10 title. What did he do? Walked away, lifted up the ultimate trophy, the Natty, and that's what you want. So for Ryan Day, yes, I don't think he's done at all. I don't. And I only think he's going to bring in guys on the O-line and the D-line. Now, that's what I think he's going to do. I do think Ryan Day has more left to do that he could do. The running back room is one that I'm not 100% sold on only having one experienced running back there. One of the toughest things to do as a running back is to pass block. Like block in general, but specifically pass block. CJ Donaldson, if he goes down, you have no idea how good these guys are going to be in live game action pass blocking. Especially coming off a year where Henderson and Judkins were elite at blocking as running backs, but especially in pass pro, you don't want to have you don't want to risk having your transfer running back go down, and the next thing you know, it's Peoples and Bo Jackson and Turbo Rogers and Isaiah West and Williams Dixon, and they just can't cut it as blockers. And if Donaldson goes down, those guys are thrust up there. What am I doing as an opposing defensive coordinator? Blitz, blitz, blitz. I'm twisting, I'm stunting, I'm doing all the things I can do to create havoc and confusion, because not only will that create havoc and confusion for the running back, it might for the offensive lineman, because they know they can't trust the running back to block what's coming his way. It's going to have the quarterback lose trust and faith in the guys blocking in front of him, because one bad apple can mess up an entire unit. I mean, there's so many different angles in regards to pass pro, pass blocking. I think Ryan Day should still attack the portal and get someone that's play a little bit of ball to add depth to that room, but also quarterback. And this ain't something where I'm saying go out there and get a guy to start. No, Nico Iamaleavas, none of that stuff. Nobody is money hungry. If Shedeur Sanders was still in college football, I would say no to that too. Is Shedeur good as a player? I think he's decent. I don't know if he's a winner at the D1 level. I think he's when I say winner, I mean like you're like playoff type, national championship type. That's what I mean. Yeah, he won some games. He helped Colorado beat something that they had not been in a very long time. But I think his other quarterbacks who maybe didn't have as good of numbers as Shedeur that were better quarterbacks than Shedeur Sanders. Differences though. Think about Shedeur Sanders. There's a mindset that I don't think Ryan Day wants at Ohio State. Nico Iamaleava, there's a mindset that Ryan Day does not want at Ohio State. You had a mature leader that can come in, fall in place, fall in rank, that is not trying to overcome or supersede take over anybody's spot, but just like, hey, I'm a backup. I'm a leader. I'm going to learn the offense, but also lead these young, inexperienced quarterbacks throughout the year. Quarterback being one. Corner, wouldn't be mad about it. Safety, wouldn't be mad about it, but it's not as dire of a need as it is for the O-line, D-line, running back, and quarterback. O-line, D-line, you can never have too many of them. RBs and QBs, you need leaders in those rooms, man. You need guys to come in and lead in those rooms, as those rooms are inexperienced. They're talented, but they got a lot of guys in there that ain't played a lot of ball. Ryan Day does have some guys on this team that have played a lot of ball. And it ties into the big accomplishment Ryan Day has after losing 2 coordinators. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena. And with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. Game Time makes it fast and easy to get playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. prices on the app actually go down as tip-off gets closer, and their last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. Game Time has some great ways for you to save money on tickets, such as their last-minute deals, which help you save up to 60% off buying last-minute sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and other tickets for events near you. The all-in pricing means no surprise fees at checkout. What you see is what you pay. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Thank y'all for tapping the Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. As we look at Ohio State's roster after spring ball has concluded, after the 2025 draft has come and gone, one thing remains the same. The players on the team, after losing two coordinators. Ryan Day was in a very interesting spot this year that he's never been in. I don't believe he's ever been in during his time at Ohio State. Having to replace two coordinators. Just that alone is tough. You replace those guys. There's a portal that opens after those guys leave the school. And the only guys that leave Ohio State when that portal opens in the spring after those coordinators leave are those players that hit the portal are walk-ons. A long snapper, a punter, a receiver, a running back. Talented players. But Ohio State has kept all of their scholarship players after losing two coordinators, two really good coordinators. I mean, two of the best in the business in Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles. Knowles goes to Penn State, which just adds fuel to the fire for that game, that rivalry game. Also, Chip Kelly goes to the Raiders, and he's getting paid $6 million a year. You're tripling your salary to go to the top level just to be an offensive mind. It's a no-brainer. I ain't going to say no to that. I hope you wouldn't say no to that, but if you do, I would like to know why. But it's a luxury for Ohio State to be where they are right now because I expected multiple scholarship players into the portal. Because after spring ball, you have meetings with your coaches and to give you an update about where you're on the depth chart and what it means or what it looks like for you to move up the depth chart or potential playing time in the fall. And it takes a lot for you to digest all that information because you want to play. The coaches want to help you get on the field to play at Ohio State. But also they have a job, a responsibility to do, to be honest with you, to be real. The moms and dads of these players are entrusting these coaches with not only coaching the players on the field, but helping them become men. And one thing you must do as an adult, but especially as a man, is get used to having real tough conversations, especially in the workplace. Now, a football team for these young men is not the workplace like it is for you and I. However, they're the same kind of conversations. Hey, man, like, just not cutting it. Or, yeah, back when I sold cars. Why'd you have less cars sold this month? Oh, I don't know, man. I don't know. Just a bad month. No. What's the why? What happened the previous month, 2 months ago? All of a sudden now you sold 4 less cars you did the previous month. Well, I had this year, I had that year, and it affected you here on the job. Get it together. And you have to have those tough conversations. Now, it's different because in that situation, when I was selling cars, if I did have a month where I was selling a significant amount less, I wasn't going to lose my job at all. But for these guys, when they have these man-to-man conversations, they may not lose their job, but they might not get on the field as quickly as they would like to, or they might not start as quickly as they would like to. So they have a decision to make. Go to the portal, try to test those waters. After spring ball is concluded, after teams have already gone through the gauntlet and winter workouts and spring football, they got their new guys up to speed with the new team, and all of a sudden you're thinking, I'm going to go to the portal now, test the water, see where I can go to get on the field now. And as many guys find when they enter the portal, there aren't enough spots for guys once they enter for the guys that are in the portal. Because think about it. You're only dealing with D1 players. You're dealing with, FBS players. You're dealing with FCS. You're dealing with D2, D3, NAIA, junior college. Dealing with all of those levels of football when all those levels of football are really, really good. There's some really talented guys there. And the ones that were FCS on down are trying to make their way up to FBS. And if you try to test the waters against those guys, you also have to add in the incoming high school players. What are you going to find? There are more players than spots available. Legend Cavazos being one of those guys a couple years ago that left Ohio State. I believe it was in the portal window, and McCord went to the portal, ended up transferring to Syracuse. Legend Cavazos went to the portal because he wanted to play now. He wanted to find a place where he could play sooner rather than later. I get it. Ultimately went to North Carolina along with another defensive lineman at Ohio State, along with a defensive lineman at Ohio State. Forget that D lineman's name, but Legend Cavazos' name popped into my head as we were talking about this conversation because he was someone that left because he wanted to play sooner rather than later. He knew if he stayed at Ohio State, he would not accomplish his goal. Great. Perfect. Go to the portal. You're a talented guy. Yeah, that year before he went to the portal, there were some hiccups and there were some growing pains, but when you don't play a lot and then you get inserted into the heart of the game, what's going to happen? The eyes in the sky of the other team are going to see you walking onto the field, and they're going to say, oh, let's attack him right now. That's a no-brainer. And he went to the portal after that 1 year, went to North Carolina, and what did he do? He got on the field sooner rather than later. It would have been easy for a lot of guys after losing Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles to go out there and say, man, I'm going to go to the portal. Man, I'll go through spring ball. I'll see what's going to happen here. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's my decision, and I'm going to go to the portal to go try to play somewhere else because maybe you don't like Matt Patricia, or maybe you like Patricia, but some of the things you're hearing about him from outside influences are impacting you so much that you're not able to overcome the things you're hearing or the things you're reading. Or incomes or promotion from Brian Hartline. You think Hartline's a really good receivers coach and a passing game coordinator, but as a play caller, no, you want someone that's a little bit more experienced. Okay, go ahead, test some waters. Remember, you got FCS on down, plus high school kids that are trying to get to the same level you are. There are more players than spots available. When you take that into account, also realizing that if Ohio State guys leave, they're going to find a spot at the FBS level, probably a Power 4 level. Why? Because they're that good. Lincoln Keenholz is one of those guys that a lot of people like myself were expecting him to hit the portal. Not only because of Stan being the guy that has better command of the offense and is, to me, the front runner to win QB1, but also because he had some very serious conversations in the wintertime during the playoff push to give him a better handle on what's to come in the offseason in regards to the quarterback battle. He could have gone to the portal. Devin Brown was in multiple QB competitions. At the end of spring, he could have gone to the portal. No, but he stayed. And Keenholz, he stayed. A lot of guys should have gone to the portal to try to get on the field quicker. Nope. Yeah, even losing 2 coordinators, there's something special about this team. These guys definitely want to run it back. And one thing about running it back, you're going to have some new guys come onto the team to help you build depth, that championship depth through the transfer portal. But also, they're going to find out that your coach might add more transfers than you thought he was planning on doing because there's still some holes in the roster. And the roster being incomplete, which means Ryan Day's activity in the portal is not done. Thank you for tapping the Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the portal. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the portal and Locked On Buckeyes on the YouTube or wherever you listen to your fine podcasts. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. It's Locked On Buckeyes right here on a Monday. We'll see you next time.